Tappei has just released Arc 9 Chapter 16, and this video will be a summary of the chapter. Highly recommend you check out my Arc 9 Chapter 15 summary. Anyways, let's begin. The first sensation was like a waking nightmare, a terror perceived with open eyes, a feeling of rejection not by the mind but by the soul, a suffocating sense of violation. Who could endure their very existence being devoured? Convulsing on the cold ground, yellow bile dripped from the corner of the mouth. It stood as a testament to the recurring nightmare. Why? Why is this happening to me? What did I do to deserve it? Is the offense truly deserving of such suffering? A voice then echoed, "Welcome to the Witch's Tea Party." The scene changes. For those wondering what's happening, Petra is of course reliving Subaru's loops. It seems that she's at the loop where Subaru gets killed by the rabbits and then awakens in the Witch's Tea Party. So it looks like Petra is reliving all of Subaru's deaths. The scene changes. "Petra," Meili shouts. Just after Petra flipped the page, it was obvious that she read the book. The Book of the Dead allows you to experience the life of someone dead. However, this couldn't be done freely. Only if you had a connection to the person would it occur. Meili touched Petra, but Petra did not wake up. She was knocked out. The red crimson scorpion clattered its claws, but Petra still failed to wake up. Ezo was frothing at the mouth after reading 10 books. Luckily, Petra was not. However, her face was pale and in anguish. Whose book did she read? Was it Elsa's? Meili kicked the book away that was near her feet. She didn't want to glance at it. Maybe the book belonged to Elsa. That's what Meili wondered. Maybe Subaru hid it for her sake. After all, it was in his character to do so. But Meili thought that Subaru would come clean since he wouldn't hide something like that from Meili. Something caught the scorpion and Meili's attention, and they turned. A wave from the Witch of Envy shook the area. The witch once hurled Subaru and Rem to Wallachia. It was back, and this time Volcanica was not there. Was this the end? Meili calls Subaru an idiot. She knows not why she said that. She wished she ate more food so she would be bigger and stronger and could protect Petra with her body. The witch's attack approached the watchtower, but it was intercepted. The shockwave still reached the tower, and Meili clung onto Petra and she slammed against the wall and floor. Flan then burst into the room and asked if they were okay. She returned after moving Garfiel and Ezo to the bottom floor. Flam states that Reinhard is holding off that thing, and Meili finishes her sentence by saying the Witch of Envy. Even Flam went pale after hearing that name, and Meili apologized. It was natural to freeze at the witch. Meili didn't freeze since it was her second time experiencing it. The scorpion then pinched Meili's neck, and Meili said, "I'm sorry, of course Scorpion was still there with us last time as well." Meili then tells Flam to prepare Petrache and the carriage to escape. After all, they were only in the way of the fight. Flam dashes off to do so, and Meili carries Petra on her back. Meili then looks at the Book of the Dead, but decides to leave it on the floor. After all, she can always ask Petra what she saw. As Meili walks, she hears Petra apologize to Subaru. She doesn't know why though. The scene changes. Milk, cold. Al was at the tavern in Marula. The bar was empty, but considering the time of day, it was natural. Al says that he won't harm the tavern keeper. Despite that, the tavern keeper, who had been woken up, didn't move. A voice says that Aldebrand sounds like he's making threats. and then Al says that it does come off that way. The voice states, well, he did barge in the middle of the night with a helmet on, but Al asks the voice whose fault that is. After all, Al is speaking to the owl that is a dragon. The tavern keeper gets the milk for Al, and Al asks if he can take some water or something for the dragon outside. Dragon Al asks for alcohol, but he gets rejected by human Al. The tavern keeper gets a barrel and takes it outside. Al sees that the tavern keeper has a prosthetic leg and feels bad, thinking he should have carried the barrel himself. Aldebaran feels exhausted. His mental exhaustion is immense. Aldebaran suffered defeat, but escaped from Reinhard. He left people wounded and battered in the Pleiades watchtower, and no doubt the list would continue to increase. Aldebaran drank the milk, and noted that the battle in the distance was occurring, the Witch of Envy versus Reinhard. The villagers arose from their houses and watched. It was a battle beyond cataclysmic scales. Wow, it really is a dragon. I didn't believe it until I got up close. A girl's voice rang out. Then a man's voice shouted, calling for Al, telling the man to get out. The man stormed into the tavern and asked what that thing was outside. The man grabbed Al and dragged him outside. Al says that he'll walk on his own. Outside the tavern they stood there. Aldebaran's new team, the Outlaws of the World. Aldebaran, Heinkel Astria, and Ye Tenzin. For those that don't know, Ye Tenzin was someone that tried to assassinate Priscilla in the side story, but Al dealt with her. We assumed she was dead, but it turns out she's alive. 16. In his plan to subdue Reinhard, Al knew he had to strike a deal with Heinkel to exploit Heinkel's love for his wife. Heinkel was someone, despite being beaten down by the world, he had his wits with him, so with a good enough deal, he would listen. Heinkel says that he needs dragon blood, and there's a dragon right there, so why do they need to continue to wait? Heinkel points his sword at the dragon. He wanted the dragon's heart, something that was said to have been bestowed upon the kingdom when the Witch of Envy was defeated. Heinkel says that he can finally save Luana. Ye then points at the fight in the distance and asks if that's Heinkel's son. Al confirms that Reinhard is fighting the Witch of Envy, and Al says that Heinkel's reward is the dragon blood, and that Reinhard and the Witch of Envy has nothing to do with it, and Heinkel just has to let Reinhard fight the witch. Hearing this, Heinkel wavers, and Ye tells Heinkel to man up, stating that he cannot chase two different things at once and expect to get them. He needs to choose one. Heinkel gets slammed into the ground by the dragon Aldebaran, but he's still alive. Al then explains that the dragon's heart is needed for now. Ye then asks why the dragon talks like Aldebaran, and Al says he'll explain later. Al bent down and went to sheathe Heinkel's sword, but Heinkel grabbed his wrist. Al then states that he'll get the dragon heart, and that Reinhard will not be consumed by the Witch of Envy. Heinkel has Al's word. Al then tells Ye to carry Heinkel as Heinkel passes out after that exchange. Al then pays the tavern keeper. As they leave, the tavern keeper asks Volcanica to stop the witch. Dragon Al says that isn't his objective. Al then tells them to evacuate the city for a bit. The tavern keeper says how long, and Aldebaran says 7 days, that in 7 days he will remove the cause of the world's end. Al and his accomplices pressed forwards. Al finally says he will move forward to remain himself, and with that the chapter ends. So yeah, looks like Petra is getting the Subaru treatment. I'm hoping she doesn't like pretend to be Subaru, like a Subaru Petra. But this is gonna be amazing. Let's see if Subaru Petra comes into fruition, or if Petra will remain onto her sanity.